This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism.
Hello.
Yep, it's me and Josh again today. No guests, just us two.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to talk to you today, Josh, about something that's been kind of difficult, I think, for both of us. And I want to see if maybe you can help me to understand it and then maybe help other people understand it. If you don't understand it, maybe we can get some feedback from people out there that can help us. So we'll just get right to it. What's been happening is things that you've gotten accustomed to doing on a regular basis, things that you've shown responsibility for in the past, and even in the recent past, things that you've worked to be successful at, have just kind of disappeared over the past, I would say, month. And I just wondered if there's anything that you can, any insight that you can share, because this is what it feels like. It feels like you're plugging along, you're doing great, and then for reasons that I have no idea what they could be, because I don't see anything, I don't recognize anything as like a red flag, watch out, you're about to derail. You know, I don't get any of that. It just kind of, the progression just stops. And, you know, because we've talked about this recently, I am beyond frustrated with it. And I haven't been able to figure it out. Because in my mind, logically, if you've been able to do something, then you should still be able to do it.
Can you please give an example so that not only I understand what you're saying,
Sure.
but you haven't really explained what you're talking about
Okay,
yet.
sure, I can give you a few.
Okay.
How's that? One thing is household responsibilities. That you had gotten into a habit of, and a pattern. So we were using patterns for you to accomplish a particular responsibility every day. And what we had set up is you do that before you eat. So, for example, you clear the dishwasher before you eat. That's just one example. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, when it seems consistent that when I ask you to do something recently, you don't do it. And just yesterday, I kind of like, my lid blew off because I just was so frustrated with it that day after day after day, I'm giving you responsibilities to do, and then they're not done. And when I ask you about it, you say you've lost track of time or you forgot. I will say this, that it does seem that that's really what you experienced. So I don't view this as you just all of a sudden being a jerk and not wanting to, help out with household chores. I see that you lost track of time. I see that you were not able to focus on that and get it accomplished. And I see that when you're reminded of it, sometimes you're kind of shocked by it. Because it's completely out of your mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like I'm seeing. Those are just one example. The household responsibility is just one example. Other ones are, we had for a while now an agreed upon time for you to wake up in the morning, 9 o'clock. I talked to you about moving it to 9:30 if that was easier for you. You said 9 o'clock would be okay.
I don't remember this. I remember the 9 o'clock thing. Mm-hmm. I don't remember that part that you just said happening.
Oh, okay.
With that being said,
mm-hmm.
It completely just whoosh.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. Right. And like in full disclosure, for everybody that's listening to this, I'm calm right now.
Right now, yeah.
Right now. It's gotten so bad that you
blew your top.
I did. I had just so exhausted from it, and not knowing what to do. I think that's something that, the feeling of not knowing, are you just taking me for granted? Are you taking Dad for granted? Have you just decided that you're not going to do this stuff because you don't want to? Are you just spacing out because, it's not something you want to do, so you focus on your books and reading and doing your writing that you like to do? It got to a point with me that none of that mattered, because I've gotten to a point where I'm so frustrated by it, and it did not make sense to me. Of course, what happens when I don't understand you, I ask you first. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the answers, and if I'm too elevated in my emotions because it's gone on, and I'm just so tired of every day prompting and redirecting and trying to get some kind of responsibility in motion from you, it doesn't really do either one of us any good for me to talk to you about it. Mm-hmm. Two more things that I'm going to add to this before I move on. Another thing is about not keeping up with hygiene. So that was happening, and lastly, you had missed medicine. Now, I
thought you just said bit medicine.
Bit medicine. Oh, no. You missed medicine.
Okay.
So, I'm not in the mood to give excuses, although I am really well aware that missing medication does have an impact on your ability to cope, your ability to stick with something, your ability to function. I get that. So that without doubt, the fact that recently you missed medicine definitely had an impact on what you could accomplish. But before that, this was already happening before you missed medication.
No.
No what?
That's not accurate, because there have been times where I miss evening medicines.
Okay, so we have what's it called? A whiteboard.
Yeah.
Where you put a tick for AM medicine, you put a tick for PM medicine.
I'd say every other to third week I might miss an evening.
Okay. And you think one dose of medication would throw you off the way that you've been off?
No.
I don't...
I know. I'm just stating the fact that I missed it more than just this.
Okay. Got it. So all of those things have been going on. And it feels like... The first thing that comes to mind is that it feels like when we take like 2 steps forward... one step forward, 2 steps back. This is what it feels like to me, like we're doing this dance again. That you and I determined a while ago that it doesn't work for us. Because there's a saying that goes, when mama ain't happy, nobody's happy.
Ain't no one's happy, yeah.
and
totally broken English, but yes.
Right, exactly. It kind of hurts my feelings just saying the word ain't. So that is true, though, that I've been feeling overwhelmed. And so what I do is, like I said, I talk to you about stuff because you have the insight. So I go to you first all the time. If there's something going on that I don't understand, I ask you about it. And this has been a cycle, and what happens is what I just described, but for everything for any... Okay, this is a generalization, so maybe I'm going to have to correct it, but I'll just say it, and then I will if I have to. Okay, so it seems like a majority of the time you are in your room and you won't do something unless I'm coming and prompting you to do so. And we've moved beyond that a long time ago. And I've been extremely frustrated because it feels like, why aren't you doing anything? And I know that's a generalization for me to say, you're not doing anything. Well,
it hurts whenever you say that. Because I know that I do stuff. I don't always remember what it is. But seriously, I do stuff around here, and I could do the things that you're asking me to do, but the things I do every day, this is not a complaint to you or anything like that.
Even if it is, go ahead.
It seems like it's only pointed out whenever I either miss something or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time it's noticed, is whenever it's not done.
Mm-hmm.
And I could do the dishes, for example, and I know that, was it yesterday, the day before, I wiped down the 2 counters, and I didn't see anything on the stove. I didn't see anything over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't think it had to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, why don't you do this? You don't do things.
Well, yeah.
And it's so frustrating.
Well, let me just right, exactly. So the reason that happened the way that it did is because this had been like 4 days in a row that I specifically directed you to do something because you need prompting and directing, right? Mm-hmm. You appreciate that.
Yeah.
You will come to me and say, what would you like me to do today? But when I say for about the past few weeks, things have not been that way, what I'm saying to you is that more like 5 days out of 7, the things are not getting done. And so by the time I come to you and get frustrated because a stove was not wiped off, it's not the stove that has me so upset. It's everything, cumulative. Because there's one thing after the next that I'm directing you to do and you're not doing them. And I don't understand why. So I've been extremely frustrated with it. And then I lose my cool, and then you get stuff done. And it doesn't work for either one of us.
No.
Because leading up to that, I'm getting so upset, you're not functioning, and then there's this clash because I'm so upset at that point because I feel like you've shown me that you can do this, and now you're not doing it every day. Again, that's a generalization because I know that you do some things, but for the most part, if I asked you to do something, and I think you would agree with this, for the most part, when I've asked you to do something for a while now, and I go and do my own thing, when I come back, it hasn't been done. And I bring it up to you, and that upsets you that I brought it back up. Upsets you that you didn't...
It upsets me not because you brought it back up,
mm-hmm.
but because I'm beating myself up for not doing it yet.
Okay. So, that's what's been going on around here. All right? Fair enough? Do you agree that's what's been happening? You were both upset. You're upset because I'm upset and you're beating yourself up, and I'm upset that it's in not understanding. So,
yeah.
All right. So, I don't know the answer to this, but I found something to be very interesting. I said that it felt to me like it was 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to some people that also have children on the spectrum.
Children, plural?
Yes. Well, I've been speaking to people.
Oh, people. Oh, so it's like different families.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And what it seems to be is that, now I don't know. I don't know this. I have not probably looked into it enough. This is what information that I found from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was interesting how there seems to be a pattern that whenever a new skill or a new threshold has been met in one area of life with their kids that are adults, they see that while that one thing now is an accomplishment and that's going well, at the same time, other aspects of their life seem to be almost
slipping away,
regressing.
Yeah.
And that...
I think the best way to describe that is that we're putting so much effort into this new ability or skill or whatever you call it, that everything else falls to the wayside because we're focusing so much on trying to get this done properly that everything else just slips.
Constantly?
As we're learning to do it and before we incorporate it fully into our schedules.
Okay.
Like into our
routine?
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing that is new for you, that's been new for a while,
so it's like tarnished a little bit.
Well, I don't think so. Because I don't think so. Because I think every time that you go and do this, because it's not a daily happening. And so I think that probably throws you off as well. But that's working.
Yeah.
So you got this job. You're really putting out an enormous amount of effort to do this job well. You want to be successful. And it's physically tiring.
Yeah.
And I would imagine mentally as well, because you're having to constantly think about what you're doing and the procedures, and if you're doing it right, and all the things that go with having a job.
Yeah.
A new job, especially. So I thought about that, and I realized that, okay, so when you go to work, the next day, I don't wake you up, at 9 o'clock. You're exhausted because it's taken all of your, capacities
mental and physical.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I don't know if this is... does it feel like this makes sense to you? But what I've been talking about with the families that I've been speaking with?
Yes.
So, how do we get back on track here? If you have this job, you enjoy the job, and it's, at this point, it's been like, what is it, 1 day a week?
Yeah.
2 days a week?
It varies, but yeah.
Sometimes it was a little bit more than that.
Yeah, it depends on what we're doing during the week. Yeah. If we pressure wash, usually it's overnight, so it's like 1 or 2 to 3 days, maybe even 4.
Right. So, like I said, I'm not looking for excuses for you, because I
come up with enough of them.
I don't know.
I don't. That's another thing that I should bring up.
Okay.
Is that what you see as excuses, to me, are not excuses. They're reasons for things that happen.
I can see that. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. What I've said to you is that it gets sometimes to a point where the reason doesn't matter. And it feels like it's because it's still the same outcome. And I think the reason that I get so upset by it is that you've come so far and have accomplished so much, and you've proven that you can do these things. We've spent hours and hours putting together a system that works for you. And
it's taken years to get to this point.
Right, yeah. It has. It has. And here's the difficult part too, Josh, is that I don't want to be giving you a pass on things that you really need to be putting effort into. I also don't want to be upset with you if it's something that you're really having a difficult time with. And I think recently there's been a lack of conversation about that. I've been really busy working and you know, maybe we haven't talked enough. I don't know. But I don't like you feeling the way that you've described that you feel. And I don't like feeling kind of just taken for granted. Which, you know, I know this enough. I know about this. I know that whatever I feel is about me. It's not about you. Mm-hmm. I know that. Because with anybody, not just you, but that's just how life is. You know what I mean? We make choices all the time in how we're going to feel.
Yeah.
And when I say that I don't want to feel being taken for granted, I guess what I should do is be totally real and honest about this. I have just been ticked off at you by not doing the things that I've asked you to do.
Yeah.
And I think that I've been kind of going under the mentality, the approach that you've done this, you're an adult, and I need to hold you accountable for everything. And not just give you a pass.
Right, and I'm not asking for a pass. I'm trying to get things done. It's just things happen and they get in the way.
Well, yes, but they. But when you're in your room laying down all the time, or at your desk, and we have to come and ask you to do the things that routinely should have been done at a particular time, it just gets frustrating. So what I'm saying is that I'm getting frustrated and upset by it, and I just need to, I guess, I see a lots of words here for what it is that I need to do, what it is that we can do. And this is part of being a parent, of being your parent. Like, there's just times that I don't know, or is this just, are you just not doing something because you don't want to, or is it, autism? Is it related to autism? And if it is related to autism, then, it's like this line I have to walk down, and I'm always confused. I don't know which one it is.
I see. Now tell me about your mother.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I understand where you're coming from. I usually do. Mm-hmm. And it is just as difficult, if not more so, for me, knowing that you're expecting these things of me and not being able to get them done. And it stresses me out so badly that then whenever you remind me about it, I beat myself up about it so badly.
Well, what's happened? Do you have any idea? Like, do you feel a difference in the way that you're thinking, the way that you feel. Do you have any insight as to why the things that you were doing like clockwork for a long time now, just, we won't say all of them because like you said, there are things that you're doing. But we could just say chores or hygiene. Why did that stop?
With hygiene, I've gotten better in some areas and not so much in others.
Okay.
Like, for example, I actually shaved on my own without being told to.
Mm-hmm. You look good, too.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
That new razor really helps.
Good.
Yeah. The chores that I do, or don't do, as the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
I am tired. I want to move ahead in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I want my independence. I want to be able to do the things I want to do and go where I want to go, when I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And
let me just interject. You have those abilities right now. You have those abilities right now. It's not something that we...
it's as it stands right now.
Mm-hmm.
I have to get your approval, or like, let's say I want to go somewhere. I have to have you guys take me.
That's different than get our approval.
No. Not only do I have to get a ride from either you guys or somebody else, I have to get your approval to be able to do something, too. Like...
You don't, though.
I do.
You don't. I've been telling you that for a long time now. If there's something you want to do, let us know that you want to do it. That's something that we've said to you for a long time now. If you want to have people over the house, let us know when. That's it. If you want to go somewhere, you have plans. I understand that you need a ride. I understand that. But, that's different than you needing our approval to do something. You come to us and say, I'd like to do this, and pretty much all the time I ask you, okay, what time is it? What time do you need to go?
But I don't want to have to rely on you guys for that kind of stuff.
No. I know. And when you're ready...
And when I'm in my bedroom,
mm-hmm.
for whatever reason I'm in there, it seems like as soon as I get settled down, no matter what it is that I'm doing, whether I'm on the computer doing stuff, or I'm laying down after using the bathroom, or I'm just laying down because I'm tired,
mm-hmm.
no matter what I do, Josh, come here. Within 5 minutes.
Well, if that was the case, then we would be calling you every 5 minutes throughout the day.
No.
It doesn't... I understand what you're saying. And I think we've had this conversation before, which is that then let's have some communication before that. If you need downtime, just say so. If you need to not be bothered for, a period of time, just say so. As far as us calling out of your room, on our side of it, what it feels like is that you're always in there. So of course we're going to be calling you and knocking on your door, and sometimes it's for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's to see if you want to get pizza for dinner. Sometimes it's to ask if you want to go someplace.
Yeah, a lot of the times though, it's because chores need to be done, and things similar to that, or I'm in trouble because I didn't do a chore.
Yeah, you being in trouble for not doing a chore generally is, come on, dude, come on,
Yeah, let's
go.
Yeah,
it's because that is a situation that's frustrating all the way around.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're working on it. I feel like, do you have any idea how we can get back on track? Is it something that, see, here's what I'm saying about being your mom, and I know from talking to other people that parents of children on the autism spectrum, a huge chunk of parents go through this, where you don't know if it's just not an unwillingness to do something, or is it associated with autism itself? And so it's just a really difficult line to walk, because if I'm getting on to you and upset with you, then come to find out, like you're beating yourself up because you didn't accomplish something, it feels pretty crummy to be upset with you when it's autism that's leading to your lack of accomplishing something. And at the same time, I don't want to always just give you a pass on everything. I don't want to just assume that you can't do something. We've always assumed that you can do everything.
Yeah.
Right? You know that. And so...
And to be fair, that is so helpful and at the same time so daunting. Because growing up, you always said that I can do anything I want to. Mm-hmm. Not in the sense like murdering or whatever, but like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, let's exclude that.
Yeah. No. You always said that I can reach whatever dream I have.
Yes.
And that was always such a big help that I'm so thankful for. That you guys have always been supportive of what I want to do. Even if it changes 5 minutes from now.
Yeah.
And the big, what was the word I used? Hindrance? Or is that the word I used?
Shoot, I can't remember what word you just used. But it feels like daunting.
That was the word, yeah. The reason it's so daunting is because the bar's been set so high that whenever I fail to reach that bar, it's...
But you know what? We never set the bar.
I know, but the fact that you guys say I can do anything, and then whenever I don't, it really is... it hurts.
There's a difference in being able to do anything and also finding out what you want to do, and also in life finding out that you have limitations. I'm never going to be a singer. I'm never going to be a math whiz.
Well, I will debate with you on the singing part.
Oh, you're
because
nice.
you have gotten paid to sing.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Multiple times even.
That's funny. That's funny. So yes. So I will tell everybody that in my my stand-up comedy, I've always been told growing up that I would never get paid for singing. So this musical shop down the road from us had this deal where you could bring old instruments that you didn't want and you could trade in for something new. So I had a clarinet. Josh's dad had a saxophone. I took those down and I got a banjo. And I didn't know how to play at all. And so I learned 3 chords and I wrote this just silly, nonsense, ridiculous song. And it became the thing that everybody knew me by. That was my closer. What's called a closer, the last bit that you do of your comedy set, is the closer. So that became the closer, and so yes, technically, I got paid for singing.
You also at one point knew how to do the intro to Stairway to Heaven on the banjo.
Yes, that's fun. Yep.
Yeah,
that was fun. So yes, and
but you do have a nice voice.
Well, thank you, honey. Thank you. You have an amazing voice, and I keep trying to get you to join a barbershop quartet. It's just awesome. Something, something around here. It's you're so good, and you seem like you enjoy it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, what was it? I had 99 performances whenever. At my 99th performance was my high school graduation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Throughout my life, all the performances I've done, whether it be the Christmas caroling through a cul-de-sac kind of thing.
With the Bear Singers?
Yeah, the Bear Singers. BEAR, perverts.
It's because you were Northern High School, the Polar Bears.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And,
Right. So it's a kind of an elite a cappella group that...
that was within the chorus, yes.
Yes, right.
And like you said, we were an a cappella group. Mm-hmm. And there was 12 of us on average.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Really good. So this has been kind of a difficult subject today. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And what do you think we do from this point? Is there something going on that's interfering with you getting stuff done? Are you if there is, are you unaware of what it is, or can you pinpoint it?
I don't believe it's a specific thing right now. I know that sometimes it's just me overthinking things, and then I get caught up in my thoughts. Like, I could be thinking one thing, and then my brain goes on a tangent, and then goes on a tangent from the tangent. And then it just keeps on going from there. Mm-hmm. And then I just forget what I was supposed to do because of that.
All right. So that's similar to what you said before, which is that if you don't do something right when you think of it, it's gone.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
So how do we make it, or you make it a priority to get your responsibilities done?
I think that one thing that we can try is, I know you've done lists before, but my thought is that if you have something that I want done that day, that we have like a little miniature whiteboard or something like that, and you write down what you, like, specific things you want for me to have done by the end of the day. And not I know that one of the things you want for me to do is do something before I eat breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the other things I had forgotten about.
Oh. And lunch.
And lunch?
Yes, I think that that's a way to make sure, like that's a prompt for you. You know that you're going to eat. You're going to be prompted to get whatever it is, that responsibility done before you eat breakfast. Again, when you go time to eat lunch, before you eat lunch, it's going to prompt you to get something done before you eat lunch.
Right. I know that sometimes I don't eat breakfast. So I do it before I eat lunch. But yeah.
When you get up at 9 o'clock, you eat breakfast.
Sometimes. For the most part, yes, but sometimes.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I don't really want to hash out all the different ways to get chores done again because we've been through all that.
Yeah.
It's just an old conversation.
I guess what I'm saying is that if there's something that you specifically want done that day, instead of me coming and asking you, hey, what do you want for me to do today? Just have a list of things that you would like done. And have it be on a whiteboard or whatever in a specific place, like on the fridge or something. I understand we've gone through all this stuff before.
And Josh is saying that because I think unintentionally I just had probably a look on my face of like, this is old news. This is, yes. So I think let's just stick to this. What's been happening recently? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel some things that were changing that made it difficult for you to do what you were doing, other than you just the typical being lost in your thoughts and...
I've been depressed.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit.
What, do you know what you're depressed about?
Depression doesn't always have a reason.
I know that.
Then why'd you ask?
Because I wonder if you knew. Like if there was a particular thing that was, bumming you out.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So we'll just get back on track with the patterns.
Okay.
Okay? Let's do the patterns.
Okay.
And I think that, for me on my end, we should have had conversations much earlier. And what, it's just the way it is. What does happen is I get busy doing my work, and like you get invested in something, you get absorbed in something, and then you look up and, it's dark, and so it's been the case. I've been accomplishing what I needed to accomplish, and you and I were not as interactive as we usually are. So, okay, listen, this is what I would like to happen from this podcast. I would like anybody that's out there that's been dealing with this, if you have any stories that you'd like to share, if you have any advice that you'd like to give,
if you have any podcasts you want us to do something on,
anything and everything,
yeah.
It doesn't matter. But specifically about this subject, because it can feel very overwhelming as a parent. It just feels that way, and frustrating and exhausting, and like I said earlier, never quite knowing, for me anyway, never quite knowing why, and not wanting to give just a pass because Josh has autism. Because you can't just, I can't just, like you were taught when you were a kid, autism or not, there's certain ways that you have to, conduct yourself in society. Remember, like you can't grab somebody. You can't, not that you would do that anyway, but I'm just saying that growing up, these are things that we taught you because... once you turned 18, you're an adult, you've got to really understand what's acceptable and what isn't.
Right.
And along those lines is now, I don't always just think that, I don't always just put in the category that anytime something's going on with you, that, oh, it's autism. I don't do that.
Right.
And yet I can't rule it out either. So I'm just kind of always trying to figure that out. So if anybody out there has any advice, any suggestions that maybe you can share with me, with your permission, if I can share with other listeners, then that will be wonderful, because this is a topic that what I'm hearing is that other parents struggle with it as well. Not quite know what to do. And anyway, I appreciate that a lot. And I think we're going to wrap it up today, unless you have anything else you'd like to say, buddy.
I may be awesome, but even I have issues.
Yeah, well, don't we all?
Yeah.
That's right. So, anyway,
I had to say it somewhere.
Somewhere. You always got to say it. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to getting your emails and hearing your advice and your suggestions, or just your similar stories. It's to love to hear from you, and please go wherever you're listening to us. If you could give us a 5-star review, that would be great. I don't always know how you're listening to us, so let me just say, if you go to my website, which is Sonya King, it's SonyaKing.com, you can find past podcasts and blogs that I write that are associated with the podcast, and other information that we have on there. So, yeah. So I think that's it. Thank you for listening so much. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
Love you.
Bye.